Again, welcome to the first ever church hurt and mental health panel here at Kawaii Kon. Thank you guys all so much again for taking the time out of Con to come spend it with us here. I'm so blessed by all of you guys to be here, and um, my whole team is just so excited to be with y'all today. So we're gonna get started. Just a little bit of today's agenda, and we're gonna start with just a little bit of who I am, a little bit of an introduction to the panel, and then we're gonna go right into the first topic of my passion, which is church hurt. If you guys don't know what that means, we're gonna dive into that. Then we're gonna move into mental health, the second topic of today's panel, and then we're gonna close with not a question and answer, but a question and response time, and a little bit of a talk story with some giveaways as well. Yeah, more on that later. Real quick, if you guys entered and you didn't receive a journal or a sticker, please raise your hand. Okay, my team members will come get it for y'all. But without further ado, we will start with who I am. So my name is Tyler, also known as KyuubiKult, and I have been an anime YouTuber for the last 9 years or so. Pretty insane. I started here in Kawaii Kon, and then I branched out to different events like Amazing Comic Con and Honolulu Festival and all these other events. And then this led me to winning the first ever and only Hawaii's Best Anime YouTuber title in 2018 because they haven't had it since then. So I have the first and only one. That's pretty sick. Uh, a little bit of context with my faith. I've been a lifelong Christian pretty much my whole life. And like everybody in this room, I've had my own struggles with my faith and whatnot. But this led me to to working at my church. And so just until maybe last month, I was working at my church as a full-time content creator and social media specialist. And so I got to see the behind the scenes of church and ministry and whatnot. And now I'm just a volunteer as I don't work there anymore. But I'm still the director of connections at our young adults ministry. So that's a little bit of my faith. On the anime side, right now, I am one of three co-hosts of the Tangles podcast, which our channel has about 37,000 followers on Instagram. It's, I think, the biggest Christian themed anime organization in the world, the best in my biased opinion. My favorite anime is Naruto, so a lot of people in this room probably know me from doing the Naruto photo shoots and the Naruto cosplays uh, and whatnot. And just a couple disclaimers. I'm at the moment not a licensed pastor or mental health professional of any kind, but I'm on my way to getting licensed hopefully by the end of this year, both pastorally and in the mental health field. Thank you. And then side disclaimer, discussion during this panel cannot be taken as professional help as much as I'd love to say so, but I'm not. And if you ever have any issues with um, deep topics, the suicide hotline is 988. But with that, a couple of panel rules. Very simple, very easy. uh, please respect us, others, and the con. We just ask that there's no loud conversation or inappropriate, disturbing comments and behavior during the panel, or else you will be kindly asked to leave. I'm going to ask Elise and Alyssa and Mike to take care of y'all. Uh, but with that, we do encourage questions and expressing life experiences, but please no debating. And when it gets to that point, I'll probably just gently cut it off. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to dive into the first topic, which is church hurt. So, what is church hurt? I think, real quick, if I raise a hands, who's heard of church hurt, like the term church hurt? Okay, about half of people in this room. Yeah, cool. In essence, the meaning of church hurt is when someone or a group of people who represent a Christian church do something that hurts you. It's very self explanatory. If you have questions, we could talk about it later. And from what I've seen and what I've experienced, there's two examples of church hurt. The first one is social, and this can be exemplified by when no one greets you at a new church that you go to and no one talks with you and you don't feel welcome in that setting. And then there's relational, which is a little bit deeper, a little bit different. It's probably you have a family member or a close friend who was a Christian, and in a way, they outcasted you or threw the Bible at you because they disagree with your lifestyle or your interest. I can personally say this from experience because I come from a Filipino family and they did not understand slash didn't like me being in the space of anime and K-pop and all these niche interests and whatnot. So those are the two examples of church hurt. Now, symptoms of church hurt, which I've definitely felt, I think all three of these, and there might be more, but in essence, the first symptom of church hurt is literally not wanting to go to church. Self-explanatory. The second one is not wanting to be around those people, and by those people, I mean Christians or those who identify as Christian, as people who believe and serve Jesus and God the Father and the Holy Spirit. The third symptom of church hurt is one that's probably the most notable, at least from what I've seen in niche communities like ours, which is assuming that every Christian is like them. And by them, I mean hateful and lying or a cult. Up until, I don't know if they were here this year, but last year, an example of this one would definitely be, we talked about it last year, the people who stand outside conventions or events with signs that says God hates certain people. Definitely not like that, in my opinion. But those are the three symptoms of church hurt. And so now I want to talk about how to deal with church hurt. And I gave y'all journals, so please feel free to take notes. It's like a mini sermon or something. But if you need a pen, please let me know. I think I have like two, but we can share. But yeah, how to deal with church hurt. The first step is, well, actually, we're going to start off with kind of a general overview of how to deal with church hurt, and then we're going to move on to practicality because I love practical steps. I don't really vibe with Christianese a lot. I love practicality. And so we're going to start general, we're going to hold on, and we're going to dive deep into practicality. Sound good? Okay. So the first step is to remember that people aren't perfect. People aren't perfect. And what I mean by this is that people will fail you. People will hurt you intentionally or unintentionally, and that's the sad truth of us being human, that we're imperfect and we're going to make mistakes, or we're just going to be evil sometimes. And I've seen this with people in church and not in church. The second with this point is the second reminder is that we need to remind ourselves that we aren't perfect either. That maybe, just maybe, the reason why we're a church hurt is because we made a mistake or we messed up. And to be honest, that's okay. Because in James 3:2 it says, "For we all, not we some, not we the Christian or we the non-Christian, stumble in many ways. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body as well." The second way to deal with church hurt is remembering that God is perfect. Remembering that God is perfect. And that he doesn't want you to be in pain. He doesn't want you to be sad or in suffering or feel outcasted, but that he loves you very much with his perfection. A couple of you guys might know this term, and it's called kintsugi. You guys might have seen this picture or know this term. And it was made popular since the 15th century in Japan. And it just means golden joinery. And pretty much when people would break their bowls or their cups or plates or anything of that nature, they would pick up the broken pieces and fill in the cracks and kind of glue it with a lacquer mixed with gold and silver or platinum. And so with this term of kintsugi, I'd like to apply that to us. I can tell you right now that even up until maybe this morning, I was this bowl of broken shards and broken parts and broken pieces with all these cracks that need to be lacquered and filled with a precious metal, something of more value than I. And so with this application of kintsugi, I'd like to propose that maybe our kintsugi looks like this sometimes. Our past, our mistakes, our hurt, our trauma. But if we have all these cracks, Tyler, what am I supposed to do? Well, I'm going to show you what we're going to end up with, hopefully, either after this panel or maybe sometime in the future. But we turn from a black and white monochrome cracked bowl into one of color and value, one of God's love and God's presence and God's protection as well. Because when you allow Him to fill these cracks, you become more durable and more amazing than we can ever be just by ourselves. So that's the second point. Dealing with church hurt is remembering that God is perfect. The third point is, and this is how we slowly transition into the practical side, is feeling your feelings. Feeling your feelings. A lot of pastors and maybe spiritual authority figures, maybe up until 5-10 years ago, probably would not agree with this. But with feeling your feelings, I also want to remind us that feeling your feelings is different from being controlled by your emotions. Because in Jeremiah 17:9 it says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it?" I can't. I can try. You can try. Dheyton can try. Our team in the back can try. But we'll never fully understand the human heart because we are human, because we're imperfect. So feel your feelings. And going into the practical, putting it into practice either today or in the future. I'd love for us to get into the habit of writing down our hurts and our trauma and our experiences on a piece of paper first with feeling our feelings, because you have to find a healthy, emphasis on healthy, quote unquote healthy way of expressing your feelings that sometimes it's just between you and the Holy Spirit. And after you write them down, we crumple it. And I'm going to show what we're going to do with this crumpled piece of paper of all of our hurt and our trauma and experiences. And just a reminder, this doesn't apply just to church hurt. This doesn't apply just to church or being Christian. But this applies to just any way of outletting and expressing your emotions. So don't feel like you have to use this practice just when you're church hurt. Because in Psalm 55, 22, the Amplified Version says, "Cast your burden on the Lord, releasing the weight of it, and He will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be moved, and by being moved, we will not be made to slip, fall, or fail." And so in Hebrew, the word cast is shalak, or to throw or fling. Shalak. So actually, Psalm 55, 22 says, by saying cast your burden on the Lord, it actually says throw or fling your burden on the Lord. I don't know about you guys, but my whole Christian life, I always assumed I had to be perfect before I approached God. And that's so not true. Because again, we're never going to be perfect. And so this piece of paper, it doesn't have to be neatly folded in gold ink on the best kind of paper. But He'll take it all. And He wants you to fling it, or drop it because He wants it all. whatever that looks like for you, whether it looks like dropping it on a table, whether that looks like being so frustrated with the world and so angry and so in your emotions, because again, feel your emotions, that you just yeet it yards away. The last reminder with feeling your feelings is once you do yeet it at the Lord, once you do throw it, fling it, or drop it at his feet, in prayer or not, don't pick it back up. If I can stress any reminder from this part of dealing with church hurt, don't pick it back up. Don't pick back up the jealousy. Don't pick back up the confusion, the anger, the wrath, the resentment that you had against those who hurt you. Once you lay it before God, don't pick it up. It's almost like that verse. I forgot which exactly, but not being a dog that goes back to its vomit. And so getting into more practical steps of church hurt, like a lot of people, especially those in our community, I do love practicality, not just general Christianity. So these are some action steps specifically when you think you're church hurt. The first action step is asking, does this person who's committing said church hurt to myself, do they love me? Not in a weird way, but do they love me as a child of God? The second action step is asking ourselves, does this person have a true relationship with God? And it's exemplified in the way that they live, the way that they talk. Um, is this person swearing every other sentence? Are they compassionate and not just a Christian on Sundays or Easter and Christmas, but do they go every week? Do they have a life group? Do they lead at their church? Do they serve in different groups? And if you answer those two questions, and the third one is, what does the word say about my situation? Because sometimes we as people love to play victim, but I'd rather speak truth to a person dealing with addiction than sugarcoat it. If I personally see my friend, my brother, my sister, my family member, if I personally see them going through a struggle that can be prevented or slowed down, then I'm going to do what needs to be done. And so, with the word, thousands of years ago, God has spoken, and what he said is law. But the cool thing is, he's also speaking now. And so, the fourth question that we can ask ourselves with going through church hurt is, am I upset over what was said or how it was said? Because people can say the right thing the wrong way and it can still come off the wrong thing. And I'm guilty and even support us being bothered by how people deliver things because it's 2023. We should all be kind of socially aware by now. But sometimes we do need slaps in the face or fire under our butts to get us moving to where we need to be, to a more healthy, sustainable, and arguably holy lifestyle. So now just another small graphic, another visual of the differences between church hurt and accountability. Being church hurt is saying that the person who hurt me doesn't really know God. And this is valid church hurt. These are people like the Westboro Baptist Church. We could be church hurt by the things that they say. If you don't know the Westboro Baptist Church, please don't dive down this hole because it's a very deep hole. And as somebody in ministry for so many years, I highly suggest don't diving down this hole. But it could be considered accountability if the person who's trying to help me is clearly anointed, and that means called, or is in a leadership role like Billy Graham, the famous minister. Like if he told me to stop doing something, I'd probably take it as value. And the second part to identifying church hurt or accountability is asking ourselves, if we genuinely didn't do anything unbiblical or wrong, but still got punished or humiliated, you got church hurt. That's fair. That's fair church hurt, in my opinion. But on the flip side, if we did mess up and make a mistake, which is okay, we should be held accountable for those mistakes and those mess ups. Not out of a heart of hurt, but out of a heart of wanting to be better. And so I'd like to just remind us that sin doesn't equal making mistakes. A lot of people think sin means making mistakes. But today I'd like to say that sin is making mistakes and still staying down, still feeling the shame and refusing to get up from said sin. That's the real sin. But if you choose to pick yourself back up and choose to let God pick you back up every time and time again, I'd argue that you're not sinning. Because why? Because he wipes our slate clean every single flippin' time. With being accountable, though, Proverbs 27:17 famously says, and RJ in the back knows this very well in our life group, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And with that visual of iron sharpening iron, sparks are going to fly. Sparks are going to fly. And you're going to disagree with your friends and family. You're going to get hurt. And to be honest, you might hurt other people too. But we need to remember that before people are Christian, they're human. And so in the end, you and hopefully they will be more refined, more precise, and more stronger because of having accountable people in your friend group. And if you're in this panel room or watching online and you don't have that accountability, to the best of my ability right now, this second, in this room, in front of all these people in the room, I'd love to offer you my accountability. Or at least a group where I know you could be accountable as well. And this is very reminiscent of Dheyton yesterday just bought a katana. And so with the visual of a katana, how much sharp would a katana be if it kept scraping up against a fellow katana? Or like the one he bought yesterday, is it going to stay dull because it's $100 compared to $1,000 one, you know? But transitioning into a video that I did recently with a video interview with Charles, also known as Twwk. He's the founder of Beneath the Tangles. Again, the largest Christian anime organization, I think, in the world, with 37,000 or so Instagram followers. So we're going to play this video. And if we feel like it gets long, please let me know. It's 7 minutes, but I think as I was editing this video, it started with the 30 minutes, and I cut it down to 7. The full video is going to be on my channel, my YouTube channel later. And I was like, to be honest, this is me last night. I was editing it bit by bit, and I got to 7 minutes, and I was like, God, I've never included a 7-minute video in my paddle, let alone 2. But he just told me that every little bit of this 7 minutes is necessary for all of us to hear. So yeah, we're going to watch this video. What is up, everyone? I am joined by a fantabulous, awesome person, a shepherd brother mentor of mine. Him and his organization have about 37,000 followers on Instagram, and he is none other than the head of Beneath the Tangles, Charles, also known as Twwk.
Thanks for having me, Tyler.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much and your time, and I'm just so blessed by you. But if you could just share just a little bit about you, maybe what you do outside of anime ministry, and what is Beneath the Tangles?
Yeah, sure. I'm a dad. I'm a historian by trade, definitely a child of God. I'm a husband, and so during the day I'm working for a government agency, but by night I'm doing ministry with Beneath the Tangles, which kind of has the vision and purpose of building community and aiming people towards Christ.
Yeah.
The idea is to reach out to anime fans, to reach out to otaku, many of whom, you've seen it, you experienced it too. Many of whom who have had maybe anxiety or depression or have been bullied, right, for just kind of being who they are, and to share with those people not only our passion for anime and manga. This is not some sort of bait and switch. We love the medium. I've been watching for decades now. And we do that through our social media posts, and especially through writing articles. We have podcasts
and
now.
our podcast.
So we do it in many ways, but then also the idea of building community that's focused on Christ and drawing people in and sharing with them our faith and our knowledge of the reason for why we're all here, and what we need to be doing, and how we're connected to God.
Super good. And so from your experiences and maybe what you've learned over your walk, what are some steps that believers and non-believers alike, what can we all do to get out of that?
It's hard. I can give platitudes, and I can also tell you, the basic things that I think most people in church know, which is draw closer to God, right? Be reading the scripture, be praying, be going to him, and continue to engage in community and serve. These things we know we're supposed to do, and that's all right. All of that is right. But I think when you've really been hurt, right? I think sometimes we forget, if we're not in that position at the moment, that the consequences are real here. When someone's hurt by the church, we're talking about kind of sometimes someone's at the edge of a knife, right? They may never go back to church again, or they may withdraw from religious life. They may blame God for it. They may turn away from their faith, or they may decide, I still believe in God, but I'm not going to take my family to church anymore. And so they've, in effect, kind of put a curse on their future generations, or that hurt has put a curse on those future generations. It's so serious. It's so real. And in that kind of way, I think it's important for us that are not hurting at the time to be on the lookout for that.
For the Christians specifically who are watching this right now, what is one word or encouragement that you can give to them who are in the anime community?
I think there's a reason why you're an anime fan. There's a reason to it. Part of it is because anime hits this kind of incredible storytelling and creativity that you may be watching anime, and there was one point in my life I was like, I can't watch this. This is they're talking about demons and all sorts of things.
Ecchi everywhere.
Right, ecchi everywhere. And sure. That is true. But there's a reason why you're drawn to it, and it's because the power of God is even in something like that. He is everywhere, And so I would say, be careful about your personal walk and your faith and how it's impacting it, but don't necessarily shy away from it. And secondly, know that God is using your interests in your life to reach out to people. You can start a conversation about anime with anyone. Whenever I'm in line talking to a friend about anime, someone else always chimes in, right? Or I was at IKEA the other day and some guy was wearing a Tyson thing. I was like, man, that's awesome. And I give him a card for the Meet the Tangles. There's sick, it's just, it is everywhere, and it's the day and age, and just use it and know that there's a reason why you like it, and God is writing your story, drawing closer to him using even anime.
Oh, that's so good. And just slightly different, but what is one word or encouragement you can give to non-Christians who are watching this in the anime community?
Yeah, I would say that it's the same thing with anime, where I think one of the reasons why we're drawn to these stories, especially the shonen stories, right, is that it's a story almost always of an underdog, right, that's reaching for something better, that's trying to help people, that's finding the strength within him, And I think there's a reason for that. There's a reason that these stories talk to us. And we think about human creativity, but is there something greater than that? Is there something greater feeding that? And we as Christians do feel that there's something greater feeding that. But in our real lives, they don't always kind of align with anime. It's like, oh, that'd be great if I could be like Tanjiro, right? We all like Tanjiro or Deku, if I could be that kind of character, but it doesn't work that way, But the power of Christ is that he does transform us. We do undergo transformation. Tyler, you're totally changed. People knew me in high school. Oh man, like I was, I was a thief. I was stealing like considerable money from businesses. I was cursing. I was doing just like you. But I was hurting people. I was taking advantage of people. I was doing all this stuff, and it was Christ that transformed me. There is peace. There is power to get away from crime, to get away from depression, from anxiety, and we don't follow Christ for this power, but when we submit to Him, he gives us the Holy Spirit and he gives us community. And through that, we are transformed, and it's a byproduct of doing what we were meant to do the whole time.
Yeah.
So if you feel any kind of like, if you get an invitation to church, or something like that, or you feel compelled to read the Bible, go to it. If you want to check out Beneath the Tangles, go to beneath-the-tangles.com. Anything like, if you feel that kind of that draw, I would say that there's a reason for that, and you'll discover how good God is, and that He's speaking to you. He's speaking to each one of us.
That's so good. Wow, that is all the time that we have with this awesome interview with Charles, also known as Twwk, the founder of Beneath the Tangles, and we just hope that it blesses everyone watching this. And yeah, thank you, Charles, so much.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. I'm so glad to chime in and be a part of this.
All right, guys, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Yeah, so that was 7 minutes out of the 25-30 minutes that I had with Charles, the founder of Beneath the Tangles. If you want to watch the full video, it's going to be on my YouTube channel within the next couple weeks at KyuubiKult. But I just want to wrap up this church part by speaking directly to those who have been hurt by a family member or someone you respected in the church that might have been the only church you knew. And so on behalf of those who hurt you, I'm sorry. On behalf of your parents, your auntie, uncle, your pastors maybe, I wish I could stand in place as a representative and tell you how sorry I am. I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you, even if I thought it was biblical. I'm sorry for outcasting you because you like anime or K-pop or cosplaying. Or that maybe I set very unhealthy expectations of you. But moving from church hurt into our second topic of passion, we have mental health. Yay! Mental health in the anime community. When I told a couple of my pastors and mentors that I was going to be doing both of these topics, they looked at me. They were all like, "That's very ambitious." And boy, it is. But today we're doing both. So, yeah. But I'd like to start off speaking about mental health, with just stating a couple of statistics and data from 2011. This is the National Alliance of Mental Health. So it might be slightly different, but same. So 37.6% of Hawaii adults are depressed or anxious. Dude, I would never have thought that. That means if the stats are still the same, 1/3 of the people in this room, in this convention, on this island, in the state, are depressed or anxious. And I can tell you, I've been both at the same time. The next stat I want to share is that 10,000 Hawaii youth ages 12 to 17 have depression. This is back in 2011. This was an era where I was in middle school, high school. And back then, that was like 1% of our state. 10,000 people. There's only a million and a half people in Hawaii. 10,000, that's like 1%. If my Filipino math serves me correctly. But then also, did you know that 1 in 6 U.S. youth, not just Hawaii, ages 6 to 17, experience a mental health disorder, not just in their life, but every year? Every single year. Ages 6, as low as 6 to 17. And lastly, 2/3 of the youth in Hawaii ages 12 to 17 back in 2011 did not receive any care for depression. I'd hope that we have fixed this at least a little bit. And I wonder how many Hawaii adults have a mental health issue. Back in 2011, according to the National Alliance of Mental Health, 187,000 Hawaii adults had a mental health condition. You thought the 1% of our youth having a mental health issue was an issue? This is like almost 20%. 20% of the people in this room, if it didn't improve since 2011, have a mental health condition. But why does this matter? And why are we talking about it here in the anime community? Well, first I'd like to say that if this is all of Hawaii, the anime community is also included in these stats. Secondly, the Hawaii anime community does have its share of trauma and family hurt and church hurt and mental illness. Third, it's also important for our future, for our Keiki's future especially, that the more that we talk about these issues and bring them up now with our politicians, with our family, with our children, the better their future will be. I would hope so. Because to put it straightforward, 2023 years ago, there was a man who lived and died so that we could be whole. Even with our mental illnesses, with our mistakes, with our past, with our traumas, with our hurts, with all of the experiences that we've had. And his name was Jesus. And whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. So if you're in this room, or if you're watching the recording or online, Christian or not, think about this fact. Emphasis on fact. It's a fact. But applying our church hurt concept of kintsugi. Hi guys, welcome. Applying our concept of kintsugi from church hurt to mental health. If our past, our mistakes, our trauma, our hurt are all the cracks in church hurt, I would say that in the mental health spectrum, it would look like this. Our illnesses, our handicaps, the hate that we might receive for said handicaps and for said illnesses and for said experiences. But just like church hurt, when we allow it to be filled and changed, we can turn from a monochromatic, gray, boring life to this. Again, filled with God's love and God's presence and God's protection. And I'd say, as a reminder, the more that we do this, the more stronger we become, the more protected we become from church hurt, from the struggles of mental illness. And boy, there's going to be a lot of struggles in life. But every single hurdle that we pass, that much more stronger we become. And so, kind of to close out this mental health portion, we have another interview. This time with a pretty, somewhat famous, arguably famous, close friend of mine. Her name is Paris Cosplay. She's a professional cosplayer on the mainland, based out of Texas. She's one of my co-hosts on the podcast, the Tangles, but she's also a licensed mental health therapist. So though I disclaimed earlier that none of this could be deemed as professional mental health, here's a mental health professional for you. So we're going to watch this. Again, it's about 6-7 minutes, so please bear with me on the duration, but like the church hurt interview, I couldn't take out anymore. I felt every little bit of this interview was necessary. And so the full video is going to be on my YouTube channel again, but we're going to get into this.
What is up, everyone? My name is Tyler, also known as KyuubiKult, and I'm here with an awesome person. She has over 90,000 followers on Instagram. She is a fantabulous cosplayer. You might have seen her work or seen photos of her, or even met her at a convention on the mainland. And we're gonna try and get her out here to Hawaii sometime soon. But she's also one of my two awesome co-hosts on the Tangles podcast. She is no other than Paris Cosplay.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction.
Yay.
Like you said, I'm Paris Cosplays. I do all kinds of different fandoms. I do anime, I do comics, I like nostalgia cosplays. So I do a lot of different characters. I've been releasing consistently about 3 characters a week or 3 photo shoots a week. But I'm actually cutting that back down to 1 to 2 sets a week, starting this month. So just trying to avoid burnout a little bit.
Amen.
But it's been such a blessing. I love being on the Tangles cast. Make sure to listen to our podcast over there at Beneath the Tangles. And I love being a safe, family-friendly space for anyone to come and enjoy cosplay. Kids, adults, teens. That's really just what I love to do.
Amen. And so, an interesting thing that I got to know about you, as we were doing the Tango cast together, is that you're so heavily involved in mental health that you even work in that space. And so, I just wanted to know a little bit about what your official title is and what got you into mental health in the first place.
Yeah, so I am a mental health therapist. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas. So that would be my official title. I work with people between the ages of 3 and 40 years old. So the primary demographic that I enjoy working with is children, teenagers, and young adults. I think I've always been fascinated by mental health, so I don't really remember when I started wanting to do mental health. I know early on I knew I wanted to do something involving people, like social work or counseling or therapy. So I'm very blessed that I knew pretty early on, like in high school, what I wanted to do. I just kind of knew. And I never really strayed from that track. Like all through college, I was just like, Nick. And now I'm here. So I'm one of the blessed people that knew early on. Because I know some people, they have no idea what they want to do. And that would give me so much anxiety.
For sure.
I had no idea what I wanted to do. So yeah, that's kind of how I got involved. I think my own story helps me relate to kids. I also think that because I'm a big kid myself and I have so many fandoms and I know about anime and all the things, I think the kids and the teenagers, they're able to really relate to me easier because I'm not just like another adult lecturing at them.
Yeah. Could you share just a little bit about if you personally have experienced mental health challenges throughout your life and maybe how that impacts your career today?
Yeah, I think that everyone on the planet, I think, struggles with mental health to some degree. And so I like to say, like, the people who are healthy are just better at managing their crazy. So we're all a little crazy, so I'm just better at managing it. And so that's what we like to do, is give tools to manage your area of crazy a little better. But yeah, of course I've struggled with mental health. I know the enemy has been at my feet, especially when God was about to lift me up. When I was in seminary, actually, I got my degree from a seminary school. So I was studying theology and I was studying counseling. But I feel like the enemy was really at my feet because all of my experience was in waiting tables and I didn't really have any ministry experience. And my classmates were all pastors' kids and they had, already like started their ministry. They knew where they wanted to go. They knew their calling.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm trash. That sounds dramatic, but
Oh my gosh.
I'm trash.
It's real, yeah.
I come from a broken home. My parents aren't married.
Yeah.
And, I don't have a ministry. I wait tables. I just had all these reasons why, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. And I believe it was the enemy speaking lies into my head. And I had some struggles with my dad getting out of prison, and that's just a whole another story for
Yeah,
another day. But there was just a lot of outside pressure making me feel insecure about where I was going and what I was doing, even though I know that that was God's call.
for sure.
But I persevered, and when God's backing it, it will
Yay!
happen. So,
Amen.
all through all the imposter syndrome and all the things that I struggled with, he got me through it, and he
Yeah.
continues to get me through it. So,
How do you think that the anime community be should face mental health challenges today?
yeah, I think honestly, everyone is different. I recommend going to therapy, which is
Mm-hmm.
like obviously I'm a therapist, so I'm gonna recommend. But like I've been to therapy of my own, and I've had my own personal mental health therapist, and she's helped me learn so much about myself and my struggles that maybe I was even blind
Yeah,
to. Something interesting about our weaknesses is I've personally found that sometimes our greatest strengths are also our greatest weaknesses.
mm-hmm.
So things that I thought were like my best qualities were also my worst qualities. So for example, being reliable was also my worst quality because I'm a people pleaser and I
Right.
like want to make everyone happy, and you know, uh, striving and being very determined was also my biggest weakness because then I burn out and I do too
That's
much.
me.
Exactly. So I think learning more about yourself is going to be the first step to managing your mental health, and then figuring out how you can strengthen those growth areas.
Mm,
So for me, I had to really work on boundaries and setting healthy boundaries, and, you know, letting go of false responsibility for things that aren't mine to, not my burden to bear.
yeah,
Um, and that's not going to be everyone's struggle. So figure out what is your unique trial in this life and how do
for
you
sure.
overcome it.
That is all we have for this awesome interview with Paris Cosplay. So thank you so much again for being with us and just blessing everybody watching this interview. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Shoots.
Bye.
Bye.
Again, the full video of both that interview and the one with Charles about church shirt are going to be in my on my YouTube channel within the next month. Um, but I'd love to get into kind of our last segment of the panel as we wind down, which is our question and response or question and discussion. So there's a mic here. If you guys have any questions or comments about this panel, about church hurt, mental health, my walk, my interest, the whole shebang, I'll open the floor to y'all. If not, I'm gonna just play this song. We can meditate all day. I've done it 2 hours straight. Oh, hello. Oh, sorry. Do you mind speaking into? Sorry. Oh, it's fine. Dheyton, do you mind? Hold... Sorry. Was it falling? Yeah. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for your question. What was your name again? Oh yeah, no worries. Well, April, nice to meet you. So yeah, this is the second iteration of last year's panel, and last year we went over specifically Christian themes in anime, and we split those up into spiritual and physical themes of the faith into anime. And it's way more dense and way more specific than I ever thought it was. And it's not like I woke up one day, I'm gonna go reach the anime community. um, to be honest, the answer to your question of why this panel this year and why last year happened, um, the anime, cosplay, and K-pop communities have always been close to my heart my whole life. My whole life. And so in 20, and I was making YouTube videos about gaming and anime, from the secular perspective. So you can ask a lot of my friends in this room if they looked at my old videos of swearing every second, um, whatnot. Yeah, a lot of inappropriate jokes. Please don't look at those. Anything before 2019, please don't. So COVID changed the guy, man. But yeah, and then it's kind of the the answer to that is in 2017 I felt a tug on my heart, and literally like all honesty, I was at a young adults retreat, and during the last worship set, at the height of my YouTube career, I was getting sponsorships, I was getting flown places, I was getting money, merch, the whole thing, the whole YouTube thing. And during this one worship set the last night, a huge gust of wind came, and I took that as the Holy Spirit, and He asked me to reach this community. And I never listened. I just put it back in the back burner. I'm like, no, no, not really. I'm just gonna go back to my gaming, my thousands of views, my clickbait thumbnails and stuff like that. But I would say that during COVID, especially as I started um, getting more involved in my young adults ministry and started interning at my church, all these things start kind of lining up. And I've already spent 6 years hosting the Naruto events, Naruto photo shoot, and the Naruto panel. Dana goes to that, and uh, it was part the answer to why I've been hosting this panel is mostly spiritual, but it was also hilarious because I needed another panel to host to get the panelist discount. It was mostly spiritual, but I think that was just the final nudge I needed. Like, hey, you don't have enough money to get the full pass. You gotta host another one. And I'm like interning full time at the church and whatnot, and so it all just fell into place. And I honestly, from last year's attendance, uh, so much has happened from last year's panel. I didn't even know about Beneath the Tangles before last year's panel, but I got connected with them because somebody came here and suggested I look into them. And now I'm a podcast team where we reach thousands of people. But then also, like last year, um, there were a couple people, some from mainland, some from not here, and uh, who came to me going through it, and it just felt right for me to reach them, to be an outlet to them, to talk to them. And I would hope that's happening now. Yeah. Go ahead. Thank you, April, for your question.
My question is about games and podcast, games and anime things for children that are basically related to the Christian faith and not demons. Well, those are involved in it also.
Yeah.
But did you get into anything like that, or
Um.
do you have any suggestions?
No. Yeah. So it's crazy. Sorry. What was your name again?
Like games and
Yeah.
animation for.
What was your name again?
My name is Lisa.
Oh, Lisa. Okay. I heard Lisa. Okay. Nice to meet you. Um. It's funny because and the question pretty much was like, have I got involved in any games or media that are faith centered or faith focused? And um, besides Elden Ring, um, the Elden Ring, but I'm joking. It's not Elden Ring. Please don't play Elden Ring and say it's Christian. That's like Dark Souls and stuff. But funny enough, with Beneath the Tangles, the organization I've been talking about, there are a couple people on there who they run a blog or like a YouTube channel too, and it's I think it was like Geek Devotions but also um, like the Christian Gamer, if I'm not mistaken, and they are currently working with a couple studios now who are making those games and who are making those media projects and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. I've never personally played any of those, but the closest I've gotten to Christian focused media would be definitely the Chosen series. Have you heard of the Chosen? Yeah, so it's about the disciples and whatnot. Um, yeah, but not as far as any games or anything. But I do know that the studios that are being erupted have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in the budget. So hopefully we'll be seeing some of those soon. And I'll definitely be a spokesperson for those, hopefully. So yeah, thank you, Lisa. Yes, my brother in yellow. With oh, Banana Con. Shucks.
Hi, my name's Justin.
Justin, hello.
I'm not a Christian myself. I'm agnostic, but I do go to church, and I genuinely, a lot of the people I around are very devout Christians. My question is, over the years, I have noticed that there is a very rigid stigma between Christianity and Japanese culture and anime and stuff like that. But I've also noticed that anime and Japanese culture have been more popular, growing more popular over the past decade
Yeah.
or so. It's actually erupted over the West Coast, which is where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you think that in the future, relations might get better from that kind of stigma.
Yeah.
The more people who are kind of shown and experience stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Justin, for your heart and sharing. Um, was the question specifically like uh, what I see in the future based off of now, like the relations between uh, those who those who are interested in anime and those kind of who aren't, or kind of anti.
It's more of just maybe the stigma will, of the general stereotypical stigma of Christianity versus Japanese culture,
Got it.
and how you think that is
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
be in the future.
Any chance were you at last year's panel?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, well
This is my first
I will
time.
send you the link. We will connect later. I will send everyone the link later. Everyone will be in the DMs and stuff. But yeah, so we kind of talked a little bit about that phenomenon. And when you said that, I don't know if you noticed, my eyes lit up because that's my alley. I love talking about the stigma, the phenomenon of the Christian faith and the relationship it has with not just anime but just Japanese culture as a whole. And so I think now, especially with I will, dude, this is an awesome question. Are you aware of like the Asbury revival and the revival going on right now? Have you heard of this revival movement? Yeah. So it started kind of in, I think it was Chicago in a university, and it happens every couple of decades. Um, but for some reason, every couple of decades, there's this a revival of believers and the spirit taking over just randomly, not just in America, but the whole world. And so with panels like this, I hope, and with media like Beneath the Tangles and people like Paris Cosplays, and also actors and actresses who are Christian, like Letitia Wright, she was in Black Wakanda Forever. She played Shuri, who are bold, bold and outspoken Christian. I think in the future the relationship is gonna get pretty good. I think and it goes back with like church hurt and mental health. The more that we talk about it, the more that the if it's two sides of the same coin or two opposite ends, the more that we find common ground, but also really talk with each other. Because one of our one of the points that we made last year at the Christian themes panel was that one of the purposes I did the panel last year was there was so much hate in this gap between Christians and anime fans. Christians didn't understand anime; they thought it was of the devil. I mean, some of it, arguably, I don't know, but there's some good ones. And and then anime fans just thought that all Christians hated them because of it. But with last year's panel, with this panel, and again with all the progressive Christian media, I would say that it's getting better, and I would hope it's getting better. That would be one of my prayers. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Wait. Did you get a sticker? Okay, yeah. So shoot me a message on Instagram, and then we'll talk. Yeah. Yeah. No worries. Nice meeting you. Yeah. I think we have time for a couple more. Yeah. Okay. A couple more questions, comments. Dude, Justice got me on fire. I can't believe you're leaving, man. Shucks. Whoa, Justin. Oh, this is another Justin.
Shout out to you, Justin. My name's Justin. So how would you approach someone that you hypothetically know that they're going to church hurt? Not hypothetically, but hypothetically, let's say you went to a church and you experienced church hurt, didn't know it was church hurt, but saw the symptoms of it, but still see, hypothetically, your family member is going through it. How would you approach that? And tell, I guess either way you could say, or either way you could ask them, hey, do you see what's going on? Or how would you approach, hypothetically, the church leadership?
Because your family member is hypothetically going through church hurt. Right?
Hypothetically.
Got it. Thanks, Justin. Yeah. Oh, it's Chihukan. Hypothetically. Well, first I'm gonna. I think the only perspective I can approach it from is from the Christian minister perspective, right? Because otherwise, there's no point in dealing with church hurt. If and it's not as effective if not. Um, well, first I would hypothetically talk with the person who I think is being church hurt, and just ask them like, hey, how's everything at church, or this group that you're with? What is their ideology? What is their theology? What are some of their core values? Do they put those into practice? How are they treating you? That kind of stuff. But if I still feel like they're going through church hurt, um, approaching a spiritual figure like of authority from kind of like an outsider's perspective, I don't know if that would be the best way, but definitely I would do so as like kind of a suggestion because my enneagram is 9, peacemaker. So Lena will tell you that I love being peacemaker. I don't like, as much as I could be blunt with people, I don't like telling them you gotta fix this. Like I got, you know, but I love kind of in a way pleasing everybody and whatnot. But I think it would just take an attempt of authenticity on your part. And like if I was approaching a pastor who I know is hurting people, I would just at first I would just be professional, be respectful, be kind as much as I could about it, and like really schedule a time to talk, like one on one, privately. Like, hey, I have some stuff on my heart that I gotta talk with you about. Are you free this time? This time? And then we would meet, and then at the meeting, I'd be like, I've noticed from somebody close to me, or I wouldn't even say that. I've noticed from someone that XYZ is an issue, are you aware of this? Are you aware of this issue? Um, and if I know that it is an issue, but they're kind of either beating around the bush or using Christianese, that is one of the things that I get nitpicky with is when not just pastors but people of spiritual authority or anything try to just cover up problems with Christianese. That is one of my biggest pet peeves because 2023 and we have to get practical like how we got in this panel. We have to get practical. We can't just say pray about it and then walk away. But yeah, and if I know for a fact that there's an issue in the church or an issue with this pastor or spiritual authority figure, I would make maybe I would try to make one, two attempts with grace on my side. But if I keep noticing that it's hurting the other person I care and love and yeah, I care for so much, then kind of got to climb up the chain a little bit. And hopefully it's not the senior pastor or someone on that executive team doing said hurting. Hopefully not. But then, yeah, yeah, of of arguably equal spiritual authority. Um, and again, with 2023, a lot of media and social media platforms speak, and I feel like you know your limitations. I know my limitations when it comes to trying to help somebody, but it also goes back to the person being hurt. If they truly feel called to be in that setting where they're constantly being hurt, I as much as I'd love to just yank them out of it, if they truly do feel called and they're gonna stay in that hurt or endure it for a season or how many seasons, there's like so little that we can do. You can't help somebody who doesn't want hope, and that's the sad truth of our humanity, of our imperfection. Like we want to help everybody, but there are just some people that don't want it. Yeah, it doesn't. Yep. April, did you have another question or anybody? We're gonna keep the ball. What time do we have till? 45. Yeah. Okay, we're going. Okay. I thought we were at 4:30. I was like, oh shit.
Um, oh, I just wanted to say thank you for coming here because this is my first time to ever do anything like this.
Welcome.
But I feel called because I have like a degree in communication long time ago, before they had storage and you could have the internet and you could stream and all this good stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of curious, like how would a Christian kind of anime go over in the community?
How how would a faith-based anime go
Yeah.
over? So I'm a. This is kind of a surprise reveal. I'm voice. No, I'm not. I'm not voice acting, but I wish I was. There is an anime right now, an anime series. Uh, I totally forgot the name of it, but I think I'll post it on my Instagram later, or I'll share it later. Um, there's a series right now. I think out of a California animation studio, and they're drawing like scenes of the Bible in animation style, and like 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 Dragon Ball Z style, like thinking like Moses, like doing the whole part parting the seas in anime style, and it's getting like thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s of views.
So how would that look like compared to like I think of CBN and them doing Bible studies
Yeah.
and cartoons
So although I'm not CBN's demographic,
ah
there are I think there's a billion and one different ways to minister to someone. So I don't like if it's CBN, if it's a Christian anime, if it's Chance the Rapper or Hillsong or your local worship leader. I think as long as you're getting ministered to, that's the point, right?
well I'm really glad you have the panel because
Yeah. Or this panel.
just even like sorry I don't know this song but just bringing up the idea that there was a division in the community. Because when I watch the anime, all I've caught so far is like seems Japanese anime to me seems really dark. Like there's not a lot of, I suppose, Christ in it, or I don't know. Is it true?
So I will also send you the link of last year.
They,
So please message me on Instagram or something, or email kyuubiKult@gmail.com. Yeah, no, yeah, that's cool. Um, because we did dive into that too. Uh, the dark and light themes, and I used to be a fan of anime like High School DxD or um, Black Butler or another or that kind of more dark or gory or horror or unholy unholy anime. Um, but yeah, but anime is a lot. There's a lot of genres like slice of life is one of my favorite genres. And it's just slice of. Do you know slice of life? Of slice of life? Yeah, yeah. So anime like Tsure Children or what's another one like My Dress Up Darling. That's a good one. Um, yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's also not clouds and despair as well. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, April. Cool. Well, we have like 8-ish minutes left. I don't know. Y'all want to keep going? I am. Oh, bye. Thank you. Yeah. See you. Yeah.
So this is sorry. This is mainly for April. I'm not sure about like your faith and if you've read the Bible. Um, okay, right. So I've never read the Bible end to end before until I saw a meme of basically it's a book club, and there's one dude who was talking about the Bible like it was just a regular book, and how there's many spoilers and twists and turns and stuff, and how dark it gets, and
That's
how
good.
fast it is, and that just changed my whole perspective on it. So I'm like reading the Bible now completely, and like my girl's like, "Oh wow, you're reading the Bible." I'm like, I give it like a crazy anime name, like that one time some dude was born
In a
in
manger.
a manger somewhere, and three guys showed up with pregnant and gold and whatnot. Yeah.
you know, they got a pigeon Bible too. It's only the New Testament.
Oh.
And the Action Bible too is. We talked about the Action Bible last year. So the comic version of the Bible. Yeah, you don't know the Action Bible? All right, excommunicated.
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Well, you know, I don't know if you guys know the Pilgrim's Progress, but it's like a
Yeah,
guy from
yeah,
Bunyan
yeah,
was
yeah.
in prison in like the 1600s, and so he wrote a story about the pilgrim's journey. And the pilgrim is called Christian, and he comes across all these interesting characters that are all people that or problems that you might encounter in life. And I was thinking, I wonder if we could do a Pilgrim's Progress in like an anime, but once you find the characters, then and draw the characters, I think it'd be
All
really
right, we'll
exciting.
connect, and then when the anime studios pop off, then we will give it to them. We'll propose the idea when they get off. But yeah, that's great. Cool. I do want to have the chance, as much as I want to keep going, at least in this format, I do want to have the chance to meet and speak with y'all one on one on the side or in the back, something. So we're just gonna start wrapping up at least the panel, and then we can definitely have as much conversation and stuff in the back and whatnot. But I just wanted to say thank you guys first of all, and if you guys don't have this one of these four stickers, yes, there's four of them. You've probably received one. There's four of them, so try to collect them all. It's like Pokemon. But if you don't have a sticker and if you don't have a journal, and yes, for the text as well, if you guys want a sticker and journal, we have like a lot in the back, and so please do that. Also, we are doing some giveaways. I unfortunately don't have the bag with me. I forgot it at home because I was rushing. But I do want to thank Justin's wife, Coley, from Prayer Warrior Apparel, because we were in a rush. I had like 15 billion bags. But we'll probably do something like an Instagram giveaway or something and start giving them out that way. I also want to thank New Hope Oahu, my church, for the journals and stationery that they gave because last year they blessed us with 30, 40 bucks worth of stationery, and this year it's 60 journals. My team will tell you that we were sweating walking it from Alameda to here. So yeah. And I also want to say thank you to just Kawaii Kon in general for letting this happen. For Mike, Alisa, Alyssa, um, as well as my prayer team, Dheyton, Amelia, Denise, RJ, Shay, Estelle, hello, um, and greeters. And also just want to thank all of you guys who are watching either live or here in this room or online too, because I'm recording right now. So yeah. And with this thanks and with this attitude of gratitude, I just want to humbly ask for your support in this ministry, in my ministry, in our ministry. Um, First of all, what the best way is to just keep me and this ministry and in your prayers, not just here in Hawaii, but around the world. There's so many weaves and people in niche communities who are trying to reach people of those interests, not just here in Hawaii, but like I've gotten to connect with people in New York, in Brazil, in France, who love anime and are trying to reach their local anime community, but their their countries or their churches are still, kind of hard-hearted towards anime and stuff. So prayer is the first and foremost way you can definitely support. But if you do have the resources, I'd love to ask for you to visit my new Otaku Christian brand. So that's kind of where the stickers come from. Yeah. Amelia, my girlfriend in the back, is actually wearing the shirt. If you can stand up and show, she's wearing it. Oh, the hair. Yeah, boom, easy. Yeah. So it's Japanese, so it says Otaku on the front, which is an anime fan, and on the front, Otaku on the back, and on the front it says Matthew 5:14, and so Matthew 5:14 is pretty much just saying be the light in the world in the dark places, and so that's us right now in the anime community, a former dark world, and now I would like to say it's a kind of gray zone now, and yeah, but if you'd love to support that way, here's a QR code you can scan, or visit Cubi's Corner, or if you type in Cubi's Corner. Um, Anywhere on the internet, it should pop up. But you can see me. So I personally love the red shirt with the pink cross on it. So yeah. But other than that, again, my contact info is KyuubiKaze, KyuubiKaze on all social medias. Again, this whole panel plus the full interviews are going to be on my YouTube channel within the month, and my personal or my Gmail is kyubikaze@gmail.com. But with that, I'd love to just thank you all again so much for coming to the first ever, hopefully not last, church hurt and mental health panel. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much. And I really love discussing with you. You guys have a great, safe, blessed one. If you guys want to connect or talk story, I'll be in the back. Please feel free to grab another journal or sticker if you want, because we have a lot. So love y'all. Thank you.